640 Hot News Talk Radio, Clutch with Keon Rose. That's me. Thank you for joining me today, making me just a small part of your day. You know that I appreciate you. Can't say this enough because we talk about it all the time in sports. Stories. And one of the most common stories, one of the most prevalent stories is this idea of hard work and results. That if you worked hard and got the results that you wanted, then you're a hard worker. And if you didn't get the results that you wanted, well, you just didn't work hard enough. And that takes out of the equation so many other things that it borderlines on the ridiculous. And it's great that I have my show when I have my show, because I basically hear what people are saying all day and I just stew. I just disagree with everybody. I listen to this station all the time, as you might have guessed, because I think we do a great job here. The Herd with Colin Cowherd is one of my favorite shows to listen to, and I disagree with Colin just all the time, just all the time. I like listening to him. I think he's a great broadcaster. I disagree vehemently, regularly. His big point on the Golden State Warriors was that they won too much too quickly, and they don't know how to win, and they don't know how to handle pressure, and they don't know how to handle conflict. And the reason why is because they were an average team, or they were a good team, above average team, and they became a great team very quickly without having to fight anybody to get that title. I disagree with that, only because this happens decently, regularly. You do have to learn how to struggle and how to fight. But the Golden State Warriors work the math of the system. I mean, you shoot a lot of threes, you've got a chance to win basketball games. And they do it more efficiently and more effectively than anyone. So they deserve to win, okay? Where we get with them getting beat last night, because they just got beat down, right? The Thunder just handed it to them in an epic way. That game was not out of hand until the fourth. Not really. I mean, the Thunder just handed it to them. And the things that I'm hearing today about Steph Curry are, well, you know, you want to be the unanimous MVP, you got to go out and play better than you did. If you want to be the guy that's announcing that you're back, then you can't be injured now. Like you can't get to say that you're injured now. And I hear these things and I'm like, we're just twisting the story to say the thing that we wanted to say. Steph Curry said he was fine. Steve Kerr said he was fine. Some anonymous source in the locker room said he thinks that Steph's hurt. So we're going to run with that. He understands that he's healthy enough to play on the floor, so he's healthy. That's quite frankly how we're going to roll with that. The other issue of if you want to be the unanimous MVP, then you just got to come out and play better, doesn't take into account the fact that, A, players just have bad games. And not just players. An entire team can have a bad game. It happens all the time. All the time. Or did you not watch in any of the previous series, the Spurs versus the Warriors, or the Spurs versus the Thunder, rather, where the Thunder crushed the Spurs and the entire San Antonio team was playing poorly. They just didn't play well. Yeah, you can play badly. Steph played badly. He was 6 of 20 from the field, missed a bunch of threes, just didn't play well, okay? But the other issue is he didn't vote himself unanimous MVP. What do you want him to do? Say no? Oh, no, guys. I don't deserve this award. He's going to accept the award. He was the best player in the regular season. He should have still been unanimous MVP. None of this changes that. That's a ridiculous notion that somehow the unanimous MVP award, he should come out and play better. Like, no, guys have bad games. Jordan had bad games. Kobe has had awful games in his prime. I'm not talking about near the end. So this idea that somehow you are awarded for being great, for your excellence, that from that point onward, you should just be in perfection, right? Like it's a must-win game for you, because if you lose, you're down 3-1, and it's hard. It's looking like it's going to be very difficult to beat these Oklahoma City Thunder 3 times in a row. It's possible, but it looks like it's going to be very difficult. And you want to see the MVP of the league come out and do better than 6 of 20 from the field. That makes sense. I actually understand that rationale and reasoning. But again, by doing so, by saying that he was 6 of 20 from the field because he just wasn't trying hard enough, or he was rattled, or he didn't have the mental composure to deal with conflict. Nonsense. Absolute nonsense. You take away from what it is that Oklahoma City's done to him. They are bigger, they are stronger, they are more athletic, and they are playing the same defense that everybody's been playing against Golden State. It's just working. And why is it working? Because they are bigger, they are stronger, and they are more athletic. Okay? When you have Russell Westbrook and Kevin Durant on your team, who are two guys that enter the MVP conversation regularly, okay? Westbrook did it last year when Durant was out. Durant actually won the, Westbrook did it last year when Durant was out, and Durant actually won the MVP award the year before when Russell Westbrook was dealing with his injuries. So you have two guys that are in MVP conversations all the time on one team. Okay, you just dominate some of these things. Kevin Durant is doing something that the Grizzlies tried to do last year on Steph Curry. They tried to switch. But the thing is, if you switch and you're the Grizzlies, you get scorched. You switch and you're the Thunder, you don't get scorched because you're switching from Robertson to Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant is guarding Steph Curry. And by the way, that looked like it bothered him. Just the size of Durant blocked his vision, took away all of his space. Steph Curry had nowhere to go. He couldn't see anything. And then I was watching some highlights today. Steph Curry is doing the thing that he does. He's running through screens like great shooters do. And the Thunder have got their hands all over him. This is playoff basketball. They're not going to call those. They pushed him around. And Steph never complained. But you know what? When it was time for him to get the ball, he was open on the other side and shooting. It takes a lot out of your legs. There's no lift. Can't make those shots. Give credit to the Thunder and what they're doing defensively. It's brilliant. They ran out there basically what is their own lineup of death, right? Like the Warriors small ball that they run out. The Warriors have what is known as their lineup of death. It's a smaller lineup. It gives big lineups in the league a ton of trouble. Okay? Here's the Warriors lineup of death. Involves typically, right? The Bo gets their 7-footer. Bogut goes to the bench. It's Steph, it's Clay, it's Draymond, it's Iguodala, and it's Livingston or Barnes. Okay? You could play Harrison Barnes at the 4, Draymond Green at the 5, and now you're smaller than other teams, but you're faster. The lineup of death that the Thunder have discovered on their own lineup is their own version of a small lineup. It's Durant, it's Ibaka, it's Roberson, it's Waiters, it's Westbrook. All of those guys are huge. All of those guys are ginormous. Their small ball is still bigger than the Warriors. This is a huge problem for them, obviously. You've just got to give credit to what it is that Billy Donovan and the Thunder are doing. He's making all of the right adjustments, and the Warriors don't have a counterpunch for it because why would they? Everybody that's ever done that to them before, it's never worked. Now you have to discover something that is unseen territory for you as Golden State. You haven't seen anything like this before. I mean, this is the great thing about sports. We think we know it. We think we figured it out. And then here comes a curveball. We haven't figured out the Warriors until you realized everybody actually already did figure out the Warriors. They just didn't have the athleticism to do what Oklahoma City's doing. It changes everything, okay? And making Russell Westbrook the focal point of this offense because he is horrifying. I mean, you see a person like that. Someone was saying on the internet today, Russell Westbrook is a muscle with a face. I'm hard pressed to disagree with that analysis. Russell Westbrook is a muscle with a face. He is the most athletic player in the league. Yes, more so than LeBron. And LeBron is a freak too. He's the most athletic player in the league. He's playing incredibly intelligent basketball right now. He still rebounds like a beast. He's got a higher jump than most bigs. So when he's going up there and getting rebounds, he's right up there with them. I mean, it is hard to beat a team like Oklahoma City. They're finally clicking, and we're not giving them any credit at all. We're just going to say that the Warriors are choking or that they're a one-hit wonder or they're fluky. They're not. They're not any of those things. They're a very well-designed team that's running into another well-designed team, and that team's more athletic than they are. I think if this series is proving anything, it's that there's more than one way to win a title still. Like we all thought after the Warriors won the title last year, you don't play this kind of pace and space basketball. You don't spread them out. You don't shoot a lot of threes. You can't win. But the Thunder, all they did this season was play with their big guys. That was what they did. And they are not changing from that. And it's working out for them because of the kind of team that they've designed. That, yeah, their big guys are big, but they're also fast. And they're also athletic. And that Inez Kanter trade was a risk because Inez Kanter cannot play defense at all. Inez Kanter might have trouble guarding me, and I'm 5'10". It's an issue of they built their team the way that they wanted to with an identity that they wanted with great athletes, with great players, because you do need that in the NBA. That's something that never changes. You don't have great players, you can't win. It's just a fact. Like, we're still looking in Atlanta for our extra star, for another star player, because we can't find that guy. If we don't have him, there is no title coming to this region of the world. Okay, we will have the opportunity to host the Super Bowl in a few years, but an NBA championship series, that's never coming over here if we don't get another guy that is athletic and one of the top players in the game. Okay, and whether we draft that guy or get him in free agency, that philosophy is entirely up to you. The Thunder were fortunate enough to draft both Westbrook and Durant, and they drafted Harden, but they didn't keep him. Okay, like that is a well-designed team. So when you see things like Joe Lacob in April, I believe, said some things in the league about he wanted to take some credit for the success of the Warriors, and what he said was that the team was, quote, light years ahead of probably every other team in structure, in planning, and how we're going about things. We're going to be a handful for the rest of the NBA to deal with for a long time. That promise of how much better you are than everybody else and how much longer you're going to do that, it smacks of a certain arrogance that doesn't work, okay? And I'm not opposed to arrogance in sports. We know this, right? But you're the owner of the team. You don't play the game your players do. Let them be cocky. Let them be arrogant because they're the ones actually putting the ball in the hoop. You being cocky and you being arrogant doesn't serve any purpose. Okay? Maybe you turn out to be right, but you don't. I mean, what do you get from that? Like, being cocky and arrogant on the floor as a player actually has a psychological effect on other players. There's something you can reap from that always. Being the owner of the team, that doesn't mean anything. And it's that little bit of comeuppance that people are kind of enjoying with Golden State here. I'm not enjoying it. I really wanted this series to be a 7-game series. I'm still rooting for that. But I do like Durant and Westbrook, and they're playing like a couple of guys who have been doubted for a while. Like they went to the finals. They were there with Harden. They trade Harden. And since the Harden trade, they've just been catching so much grief about, boy, they made the wrong decision there. They're never going to make it back. Why does Russell Westbrook shoot so much? If you had Kevin Durant on your team, wouldn't you pass it? Why does Kevin Durant look so passive? Why doesn't Kevin Durant attack more? I mean, like just criticism on criticism on criticism. And these guys are finally playing like a couple of guys that have just had enough. And they're not getting any credit for it. It's just hilarious that they're playing like two guys that are trying to battle criticism. And then what do? We turn around and criticize the other team. Steph Curry's not playing like the MVP of the league. Yeah, we got that. But why isn't he playing like the MVP of the league? I've got a clue here for you. It's the other team. They're smothering him. They're erasing him from the game. And, Steph's going to have to find a way to combat this. This whole team is going to have to. The Thunder aren't leaving them with a ton of opportunities to score, and the opportunities that they do have left, they're not capitalizing on them. They're not knocking down open shots. They're missing open shots. Okay. At that point, you just have to think the numbers and the law of averages is going to come back around the other way. Because I'm trying not to do the thing where you just knee jerk and go, yeah, this series is over. We don't know that. We didn't believe before this series started that the Thunder were going to go up 3-1 in this series. Like, we wouldn't have thought that. And if we did, we would have thought that every one of those games was a grinding, battling game. And that was really only game one, which, by the way, the Warriors could have taken game one. They started off in game one on fire, took their foot off the gas a little bit because they got cocky. I think a little arrogant there. And the Thunder caught back up in that game. Now, again, you've got the transcendent talents of Russell Westbrook and Kevin Durant. There's no game that's really gone from you. Not really. Okay. And the same thing goes for Golden State. When you can shoot the ball like that team shoots the ball, there's no game that's really out of reach for you. Like, they were down 12 at one point, and I was like, yeah, that's 4 threes. I mean, it doesn't feel impossible for them. And I've seen it over and over again. They're not playing well. They're lagging behind. Steph Curry heats up, and then we're in a different place. Okay, like we're a handful of plays away from this being a different series. And I mean a literal handful. It's crazy because the blowouts make it look like the Thunder are just overmatching the Warriors. And it makes it, or when they lost, we thought, wow, the Warriors have just smoked the Thunder. This series is done. Golden State's got it. What we're not taking into account is that it's really just a handful of plays when you've got two teams that can put the ball in the bucket this quickly. And I have doubts about Golden State's ability to do that, not because of what Golden State is doing, because those guys are out here trying. Those guys are out here working hard. They're just being put in a position to fail by the other team being bigger, stronger, faster, more athletic. Period. End of story. You're listening to AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio, Clutch with Keon Rose. I am hesitant for stuff like that because it's just like we do the thing where we base our analysis of what happened on the result. So if there's a win, then the winner is the person who is more virtuous and trying harder and doing more work. And if there's a loss, we never take the scientific approach and go, okay, maybe the team that lost had something that went wrong for them. And in this case, it was the defense of Oklahoma City. Like the Warriors are going to have to find an adjustment to what happens when Andre Roberson, who is already too big to be guarding Steph Curry and is giving him trouble and problems, is switched by Kevin Durant, who is even longer and is causing even more problems. Because that is an issue. And there is no certain answer for it yet that apparently Steve Kerr and the Warriors have found. I don't think they're going to go down like this. Okay, they go back home. They may win that game in all likelihood because it is a home game, and that's a hard place to play, Golden State. And then this series is 3-2, and you come back to Oklahoma City with a chance to tie it up. And that's what I'm rooting for, quite frankly. All right. But we just knee jerk all the time. I mean, we're doing it over in the Eastern Conference too. The series is tied at 2-2. We're just knee jerking over there. I don't think anybody thinks the Raptors are still going to win that series, but like, why not? And the story of LeBron is, LeBron, he he seems to shrink in the fourth quarter. Like, that tired, played out narrative's coming back again. Like, good grief, man. We're not done with that. We didn't finish up with that at the beginning of the decade. We have to run that one back out here. Good grief. You're listening to AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio, Clutch with Keon Rose. I'd like to talk a little bit of some of the spring trainings in college football wrapping up, and we'll have our analysis on that, as well as the top 5 coaches in the SEC of the past decade are...
I'm blowing everything up. We're starting over. I'm doing a new show. I want guys who push it to the middle of the table and go over the top. Take a risk, fail miserably. I'm right, and I'm not wrong, and I'll never back down. Conflict works. Allow it.
It's The Herd with Colin Cowherd. Right here and everywhere. Noon Eastern.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds. We'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
Fox News Talk 1240. You and I know that real men are prepared for anything. You know what I'm talking about because you're a Take Charge guy. Everyone's talking about Grimm's Tactical, featuring first responder gear, survival gear and equipment, Voodoo Tactical, Leapers. For personal protection, Grimm's Tactical features non-lethal personal protection gear, AR/AK parts, knives, canning and dehydrating equipment. If you hike and camp, Grimm's Tactical has got what you're looking for, bags and packs. And for your side piece, concealed carry holsters for men and women. Plus, Grimm's Tactical carries a wide variety of freeze-dried food. Wise Mountain House, Backpacker's Pantry, Grimm's Tactical, where law enforcement shops, Safari Lane, Blackhawk, 511. First responder gear at Grimm's Tactical. Grimm's Tactical, 8115 East Brainerd Road, in the shopping center next to the Walmart Marketplace. Look for the Mighty Mini U-Haul office. Grimm's Tactical is right next door. Grimm's Tactical, 8115 East Brainerd Road.
Just imagine not a cloud in the sky. It's the perfect day on the water. You could be enjoying boating with friends, or wetting your line to catch a fish, or maybe it's just you and that special someone on a sunset cruise. All of this without the hassle of owning a boat, with your membership in the Carefree Boat Club. As you relax and spend time with the ones you care about, you have the peace of mind of knowing you're a member of the Carefree Boat Club. Weekends were made for relaxing and being hassle-free, just like the Carefree Boat Club. Let us take the worry out of boat ownership. No matter if you enjoy fishing, skiing, cruising the lake, or maybe even an overnight adventure, we have a boat for you at the Carefree Boat Club. Start making memories today. Call 423-619-7156 to join. Boating season is here, so do not wait. Call now, 423-619-7156. Carefree Boat Club is located at the Harbor Lights Marina, 9718 Hickson Pike.
Finding just the right place to live can be a daunting task. Stop your search. In Chattanooga, the place to live is Cross Creek Villas for under $1,000 and available for immediate move-in. You can enjoy this 2-bedroom split layout, over 1,000 square feet, 9-foot ceilings, an extra-large patio or balcony. And don't forget to ask about their preferred employer program. Cross Creek Villas is a gated community, offering a 24-hour fitness facility, a beautiful pool and hot tub, and Cross Creek Villas is pet-friendly. Stroll the pet park with your best friend and enjoy the free use of their business center and clubhouse. Plus, if you mention you heard this on the radio, your application fee is free. Cross Creek Villas, close to downtown off of Highway 58. Go to crosscreekchattanooga.com. That's crosscreekchattanooga.com or call 894-0446. That's 894-0446. Redefine the way you live at Cross Creek Villas. Go to crosscreekchattanooga.com or call 894-0446. Cross Creek Villas.
Expect partly cloudy skies to continue through the nighttime. A little muggier overnight, lows 63 to 65. For Thursday and Friday, feeling more like summertime with more heat, haze, and humidity. Just a slight chance of an afternoon shower with highs each day into the upper 80s to near 90. Put some smarts in your car. Plug in Hum by Verizon to get vehicle diagnostics, emergency incident alerts, and pinpoint roadside assistance. For a smarter, safer car, go to hum.com. And I'm Sports Team 12 Chief Meteorologist Patrick Orr. On AM 1240, Hot News Talk Radio.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
Fox News Talk 1240.
AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio with your Hot News Now update. A teenager is in serious condition now after being shot on 10th Avenue last night. His aunt was witness to the crime. She says that she heard multiple gunshots and saw a man with a shotgun get into a car and drive off. She stayed with the teen until emergency services arrived. Chattanooga police say they are continuing to follow all leads. If you have any information, call 423-698-2525. A cell phone thief has been arrested after the phone he stole was still uploading photos to the owner's cloud. She was able to identify him. The female victim says that Seth Benjamin Hardnett from 14th Street was one of the robbers who took her phone. He's been charged with aggravated robbery. She says her phone was stolen when two men with guns walked up to her, tried to grab her purse, and when she resisted, she was hit in the head with a gun. They ran off with her purse, which contained $2,000, a few cards, and her cell phone. A house in Appleton is now a total loss following a fire. Fire investigators are still trying to find out what caused the fire in Appleton. It spread to the attic, and the home is a total loss. If it's going on in the Tennessee Valley, it's going on Hot News Talk Radio.
Hot News Talk 1240.
I have opinions on the NFL's concussion issue. I just don't want to get those opinions and have them validated by what's basically soundbite grabbing. I want the numbers, and I want the math, and I want the science to tell us, yeah, football's dangerous and maybe people shouldn't play that. But I didn't need the numbers and the science and the math to tell me this. And so now we're in a situation where Buffalo Bills GM Doug Whaley, he's been under fire for some recent remarks, and I think it's interesting that how the media took these remarks and just ran. And again, I understand the irony of criticizing the media, as I am the media, et cetera, et cetera. I got it. Okay, yeah, I get it. But still, as a member of the media and a person capable of doing this very same thing, and I would love to be called on it if ever I do such a thing, because I mean it's I think it's not right, regardless of who does it. This idea that you can take the soundbite of somebody saying something and make it say whatever you want is horrible and horrifying, only in as much as that's not what journalism is about. Journalism is about, here are the facts, here's what happened, here's what happened. That's it. I mean, there's nothing else there. But we add extra commentary to these things because we want to. And we want to say right now, football is dangerous and you shouldn't be playing football and all of those things, because that is the big issue facing the NFL and the future of football in this country, that if anything is ever going to end that sport, it's this idea that not just playing football is bad for you, but playing football will leave you in a much worse position than had you never played football. And I mean that mentally. It takes you in a place mentally there. So here's what Doug Whaley said, because he was on a local show in Buffalo. He was on the Howard Simon show on WGR 550, and he called football a violent sport. He was talking about Sammy Watkins, their young receiver from Clemson. He just hasn't played a ton of games. He's been dealing with a nagging injury. And he said, this is the game of football, and injuries are a part of it. It's a violent game that I personally don't think humans are supposed to play. And these things are going to come up. But we just trust in our medical staff, which, right, like this, that's a completely innocuous quote. He did not mean that to say people should never play football. Things that humans aren't supposed to play. There are tons of things that humans aren't supposed to play. Baseball, throwing a 110 mile per hour pitch, humans aren't supposed to do that. Okay, with the Tommy John surgery that every pitcher has these days, yeah, that's because your arm is doing a thing that arms were never designed to do. And then you ask your arm to do that for the greater part of 2 decades, and you ask your arm to do that every night for an entire summer. Arms were not designed to do that, right? That legs were not designed to do what it is that Russell Westbrook does. And we talked about the athleticism of Russell Westbrook. Legs were not designed to do what his legs do. One day, Russell Westbrook's legs aren't going to be able to do anything like that anymore. Okay? That's just how sports are. You're asking someone to do something repeatedly that isn't in line with what their body's even supposed to be able to do. You could describe any sport that way. And I understand the criticism of, well, football is the only sport where the thing that you're not supposed to do can leave you with delayed, early onset Alzheimer's or delayed reactions later in life and CTE. The making you lose your mental capabilities is a direct consequence of playing football. I got it. I understand that. That is the legitimate concern. But I don't want to take what somebody else said out of context to prove that point when the science is already proving this, when we already know this to be a fact. And that falls under the things that the human body wasn't designed to do. Like, intense head trauma, you're not supposed to do that. The human body was also not designed for you to be in a motor vehicle. When that goes wrong and we have millions of accidents a year, you weren't designed for that. And you're aware of the risks of driving a car. Let's not take what somebody said out of context to prove this point, especially since it's not news. We know this. No sport that is played is the human body designed to do to the extremes and to the lengths that they are played. That's why the average career for any of these athletes borders around like 10 years. I mean, there's a point where your body can't take it anymore. Calvin Johnson, great Georgia Tech player, great Detroit Lion, retired. Why? Body can't take the hits, okay? And he realized it and got out. The human body was not designed for that, okay? Doug Whaley was not talking about head trauma, though head trauma falls under it. He was talking about Sammy Watkins' specific injury. Let's stop being ridiculous. You're listening to AM 1240, Hot News Talk Radio, Clutch with Keon Rose. Make sure to check us out on the social media, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. You can also get to all of those social media from our website, hotnewstalkradio.com, where you can click on the Facebook link and stream us live on Facebook. You can click on the YouTube link and stream us live, our local shows, on YouTube. You can also interact with us. We'd love to hear from you. You can also stream the shows and the programming from hotnewstalkradio.com. We stream 24/7, 365. This show is Clutch with Keon Rose. We do this every day from 6 to 7, except for the weekends. And make sure to check us out in the TuneIn Radio app. Again, that's the TuneIn Radio app. Simply search Hot News Talk Radio into the app, give us a favorite, and press play, and you'll have Hot News Talk Radio everywhere you go. ESPN.com. There's an article on the 5 best college coaches of the past decade, and it's hard to disagree with this list. So if you wanted to, I suppose you could find something, right? But here's the list. Here's the list. Number 5 on the list is Philip Fulmer, because he had 3 years that just sneak into the decade, coach from 92 to 2008. So he just snuck into the past decade, right? But during Fulmer's career at Tennessee, incredible, 152 and 52 record in 17 seasons. And then, you've got the ending of Fulmer's time in Tennessee. That 2008 ending was pretty hideous. But Philip Fulmer is number 5 on the list, and then also on the list is number 4, Steve Spurrier, which I agree. But ahead of him is Les Miles, which I'm going to give Les Miles the nod here because of the constant clashes with Alabama. Those are some great clashes that they had throughout the years, albeit that, ever since 2011, they haven't actually beaten Alabama, right? They won the first time they matched up in the season and then lost in the national title game and then just never beat Alabama ever again. But up until that moment, I thought was a great wild ride with Les Miles. Number 2 is Urban Meyer, and you'd be hard-pressed to disagree with that one. Urban Meyer, while he was at Florida, incredible. Tebow was a huge part of that success, but they were a powerhouse while he was there, and they haven't been the same since he left. Rooting for Jim McElwain. Turn that thing around there, buddy. And number 1 is obviously Nick Saban. I don't know how much conversation we need to have into any and all of that, but I'm more interested in the guys that just missed the cut of this list because Gene Chizik on when he was with Auburn, obviously capitalizing with Cam Newton. I'm interested in. I understand why none of these guys made the list. Gene Chizik, you're only there for 3 years. You win 1 title. There's a dominance that the other guys had during their tenures as head coach. Hugh Freeze at Ole Miss is a good. Could have been on the list, except you've got the cloud of possibly cheating around Ole Miss. Like, how did they get so good so fast? And this whole Laramie Tunsil and did coaches pay for his rent and his mom's electricity bill and all of this stuff? It's too much. You're not going to make the list with that much speculation buzzing around you. Nothing's going to happen to him. I assure you. Ole Miss is going to get off scot-free. But I'm just saying. Dan Mullen at Mississippi State from 2009 to now, I think that's a really good one, but not being in title talks really, I think really hurts him, and he wouldn't make the 5 either. Gary Pinkel is another guy that didn't make the list 2001 to 2015, even though miraculously Gary Pinkel got that team to there was a string there where they were winning like 10 games a year, and we were like, how? Like, you look at that roster that Missouri ran out there, and you're like, this is not a 10-win football team. This is not an 8-win football team. Like, this is a bad football team. And then Missouri was just somehow like hanging in there. And obviously, the last couple of seasons have been rough, but there was a string of like 3 or 4 seasons where you're just like, Missouri, they're in the mix somehow. Also on the list, Mark Richt of Georgia. Mark Richt, perennially 10-win football team. But the reason, obviously, why he wouldn't make the top 5 would be that he was a perennially hanging around, but never winning, never won an SEC title, and never really competed for a national title. So, yeah, but he's going to do all right in Miami. I'm sure of it. Here's the deal. Okay, you're listening to AM 1240, Hot News Talk Radio, Clutch with Keon Rose. I like the NBA. And jump back to the NBA because tonight the Cavs play the Raptors, and I'm hoping for LeBron's performance to be one of those memorable performances. Like, I've been waiting for this one because I haven't seen all the legends play, right? I'm young. I'm 26. I haven't seen all the greats of the league, but that's okay. I listened to Colin Cowherd's show today, and he was like, yeah, you're young people. You don't know anything. You haven't seen any of the legends. Like, okay, fine. Like, we get that. But there are legends playing right now. There are guys that are going to be legends, and then one day I will be old enough to say, yes, I watched Kevin Durant. But one of the great performances that I have seen in life was back in 2010, I believe. LeBron James was in Miami, and they were playing the Celtics. And people thought that the Celtics were going to eliminate the Heat. The Heat weren't playing well. Dwayne Wade was playing like rubbish. Chris Bosh was playing like garbage. It didn't look good. And one of the great performances I've ever seen, LeBron James comes out, and he's usually joking and laughing because LeBron's a great teammate. LeBron was not joking and laughing that night. His face was serious. He looked dead. His eyes his jaw was just slack. Like, LeBron did not show up that night to play basketball. LeBron James showed up that night to work, and he did work, and he scored 63 points, and he took over the game. And I think that the question marks that were surrounding him at the time were ridiculous. Like he doesn't have a killer instinct, and he's soft, and all of these things. Like he doesn't have the mentality of a winner. All of this stuff was just stupid. And it continues to boggle my mind how we ever said those things about LeBron and why it is that we are allowing ourselves to say this garbage again. The Jason Whitlock is there talking about LeBron James. He won at an early age. He just doesn't have the mentality of get out of here with that, okay? Because he's been in adverse situations in his career. That LeBron James is a guy that basically scored when he was in Cleveland the first time. He scored 30 points in a row by himself. Literally scored 30 points in a row by himself. Just put the team on his back and carried them, kicking and screaming, to a victory that you can only assume that they didn't want by the way that all the other four guys on the floor were playing. And here we are again. Cleveland has lost 2 games to Toronto in what is the 2 most important games of basketball in the history of the nation of Canada, which those are 2 understandable games to lose because the Raptors needed those wins, not to stave off elimination. Not only that, but they needed those wins for Canada, and they got them. Okay, emotionally, the Raptors were in a place that the Cavaliers were not. And LeBron James is looking to pass the ball. And he looks to pass the ball because that's his mentality. LeBron James is an outside-in player. Okay, Kobe is an inside-out. Jordan is an inside-out. These guys are like, I'll get me going. And when I get going, shots will open up for everybody else. And this is not a wrong way to play. That's not incorrect. That's the way that their skill set is designed. That's the game that they have to play to be successful. They played it, and 6 rings for Jordan, 5 for Kobe, very successful. Magic Johnson, LeBron James, outside in. Outside in. I get everybody else going, and then when it's time to deal the killing blow, I'm going to finish it. They can't stop everybody else. Now, they definitely can't stop me. You can't have that mentality in today's sports world because we are going to call you soft. We are going to tell you that you have no killer instinct, that you don't want to finish games, that you're afraid of the ball, because we have too much time. We've got the internet. We've got 24-hour ESPN, 24-hour Fox Sports 1, 24-hour CBS Sports, 24-hour NBC Sports. We've got to fill it with something, and we fill it with worthless analysis that doesn't actually pertain to the game that we're watching. I'm watching LeBron James play, and I'm not watching a guy that's afraid of the ball. LeBron James has never been a consistently great three-point shooter. Why would he ever look for that shot for himself? The Raptors gave it to him. That's the only way to beat him. Let him shoot. He's not a great shooter. He's a better driver to the basket, which explains why he's such a great passer. Get everybody else involved. Those lanes open up, and when I have to drive one-on-one on somebody, you can't stop me. I'm LeBron. So I don't want to criticize him in that way, but I'm glad the criticism came. I'm so happy the criticism came because I want serious, angry LeBron. I want grumpy LeBron. And maybe, I don't know, maybe we get to see the Steph version of that a few days later. I don't know if Steph's got that extra level or that extra gear to him where it's just like, okay, time to suit up and just be unstoppable right now. I don't know. He hasn't had to do it. And so that's going to be interesting to see. It's all about the learning process. That learning is the great thing about sports. Like learning that we thought something was true and then finding out that we were wrong. That's the great part of the process. We'll see if Steph's got that extra gear. I know LeBron's got the gear. What I want to know now is, have we poked him enough and made him angry enough for him to use it so we can watch glorious, glorious basketball where LeBron just goes bonkers and just destroys like the earth? Because I am so sign me up for that. Man, I wish I could have gotten a ticket to Cleveland. And I assure you that is the first time that anyone in the history of this world has ever uttered that sentence. I really do. I wish I could go to Cleveland tonight. Watch that game, because he's going to be special tonight. Like I feel it. Okay. And I'm not like huge LeBron fan. My favorite player in the league is Kevin Durant. Actually, my favorite player in the league is John Wall, because I root for the best player of my favorite team. But if I have to go outside of that, it's Kevin Durant. I think he's the best player in the league, just from a standpoint of his size, length, ability, three-point shooting ability, for his size and his speed and quickness and his size. And it's absurd and it's crazy. And he's crazy and Russell Westbrook's crazy. Like that's fantastic to me. Where I'm at with LeBron is we very often dismiss LeBron because we've seen all the things that LeBron can do. Like, LeBron does not add other things to his game now, because what else is there to add? Like, there was a point where he obviously needed to add a post-up game because teams would just let him shoot jumpers, and that was hilarious. Like, he wasn't making them. And he's not a three-point shooter. He's not a specialist. He shoots well enough to where if he's going, it's terrifying, but like, he's not the shooter. But he doesn't have anything left to add, and we're bored with what he can do. And we've got an opportunity tonight, because of where Cleveland is and the things that there's going to be saying in the media about LeBron. He's going to go back to that serious, angry LeBron gear. Believe that. You're listening to AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio, Clutch with Keon Rose. Thank you for joining me today. Remember, it's not how you start, it's how you finish. Stay clutch. Free Talk Live next.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
Do you feel better outside your home or business than in? Indoor air quality is important. Mildew, mold, smoke, water, and rodent damage are prime causes of poor indoor air quality. Ducts Indoor Air Professionals, better known as Duct Busters, cleans HVAC systems using 127 definable Duct Busters steps. Let Mark Thompson address the indoor air quality at your business to help reduce employee illnesses. Prevent fires by cleaning your dryer vents. Mark and his parents, Dick and Joan Thompson, have been building our local economy and helping local people with HVAC systems 16 years. Ducts Indoor Air Professionals. Call 876-9907. 876-9907. Ducts. Call now.
Rubber's tough, but foam rubber is soft. Foam rubber is the star at Stuff It Upholstery, which uses it to revive your couch, your embarrassing easy chair, your boat seat cushions. Stuff It Foam Rubber in Hickson covers Chattanooga and surrounding areas. Don't throw out that favorite easy chair that's grown haggard and barbaric. New life for your seat cushions. Premium auto-grade rubber foam for your restaurant, church, or business. Stuff It Upholstery brings comfort and relief. Go ahead, skid away from flat, dull, and droopy cushions. Relax, restore, revive. When comfort matters, Stuff It. 4608 Hickson Pike, 877-1616. Ask for Larry. That's 877-1616.
Cash, 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 and more cash.